Good evening. You are watching Hey Nikki, episode 6. I am your host, Nikki, and this is a Beyond Eons production. All right, so all my guests are special. Just gonna throw that out there right now. But I have a super special guest. Her name is Karen Mack, and she is the owner of Pretty Little Things. And we're gonna talk to her in a little bit. She got to do an amazing interview with her husband, Janelle Mack, and Dante on the other side of things. They went into so much detail about candle making and all of their products. It was just super cool, and you get to learn all the science behind how they do everything, why they do what they do, and just how pure and beautiful these products are. Before I bring her on, I gotta show you something. Yep, it's still up. Okay. Sorry, just had to show you all that. Who still has their tree up? Let me know. Oh, do I have stuff on my teeth? It's gonna be up there for a while because I like the lights. All right, so Karen's going to come on a little bit. I don't really want to talk too much about the candle business because I want to bring her on and explore other things. She's so much more than her candles. She's just been a joy to get to know just very shortly, like literally over the last month. And just for meeting her one time, one evening when we were over at Jakim's, I got to learn so much about her. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into all of those things that I get to learn, and you get to learn more about her too. All right. Hey guys. Hi, Candria. All right, Miss Karen, let me get you on. Who else is on here? See you, man. Who else? Misery is the river of the world. Hi, guys. All right. Let me get her on. Let's see if you can get on here. Yay!
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
good. All right. Are you nervous? Are you scared? Are you okay?
All of it.
So Karen is very much like myself in that we are not happy about being in the limelight or doing videos or knowing what to say or how to even start them. And
Absolutely.
you did your first video with Dante and like knocked it out of the park. You look super comfortable and just chill.
Awesome. I didn't feel that way, but
No, I know you don't. You don't at all. So, all right. So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what you do, who you are, and we'll get into more stuff.
well, geez, let's see. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. I work full time. I have my candle business. And other than that, I just like to enjoy family. I do design and engineering work, so that keeps me busy during the week, and then at night and on the weekends, I do my candles.
Awesome. So what education background do you have for this? Is it in engineering
So
or
I do the design side.
okay?
So I have a design background and mechanical and electrical design. So
Oh, wow. So this is pretty much everything you went to school for then.
yeah.
And then did you, after you finished school, did you go right into this position or did you like decide you wanted to do something else in between?
No, I got out of school and I went to a technical school, so I had my certificate and all of that. And then I followed up in college a couple of years later after having my two kids. So I decided to go to college with kids instead of before.
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome. So what did you do? Well, how old were you when you started having children then?
I had my son just before I turned 20,
Okay.
so young. And then I had my daughter 4 years later.
And then what were you doing at the time? Were you working or?
When they were little, I stayed home, and then after they turned about 1.5, 2 years old, the youngest one, I drove school buses for about a year, and
Okay.
then I went into this field once I finished my schooling for it and got right in there, and I've been there for almost 22 years.
That is amazing. Okay, so you drove buses. Like, did you know that this is something that you wanted to do? So during the time that you were doing that for a year, were you just thinking about, okay, what is my future going to look like? What do I want to go to school for? What do I want to do for a
Yeah,
living?
I kind of went through that period. I contemplated nursing. I contemplated a
Yeah.
teacher. And then I decided I didn't want to be with kids all day. So
Because you were already going through that, right?
yeah, yeah, right. So, no, I kind of knew what I always was interested in. I took mechanical drafting in high school. So even in high
Okay.
school, I had 4 years of mechanical drafting. So I had that background already, but I went to college just to brush up on some stuff.
Okay.
So I kind of always knew what field I wanted to be in, and it just kind of all fell together at that time frame. So
That is so cool. So, all right. So I had a really interesting experience like through middle school and high school. We got to do so many cool electives. And one of the ones in eighth grade, it was a combination of working with wood.
Mhm.
And that, so one half was actually working with wood and making, I think I made a cutting board, a clock, and like a napkin holder. But the other half was drafting.
Yeah,
And I loved it. I mean, I was actually decent at it. It wasn't like it clicked as something that I would ever do for a living,
right.
but I was always an athlete, always did the physical side of things, but never really pulled forward with art. Like I acted, but it was not natural. Don't know how I even had the wherewithal to be able to do any of that. I was in
Right.
chorus, couldn't sing. Um, but it just felt so good, like just being so angular and using the different rulers, and it just I don't know, I
Yeah.
really loved it.
When I started, I was on the drawing boards with
Okay.
T-squares and protractors and compasses and all of that stuff. So I liked that stuff. It was kind of like straightforward for me. And I actually originally wanted architecture.
Okay.
And as I grew older, I just decided more towards this avenue.
Okay.
So this allowed me to stay local and have steady hours, which was important for
Yep.
me as a young mom. So it worked out for me.
And so you have the two children. Did you have any more after that?
I have two biological children,
Okay.
and my husband has two
Uh-huh.
children, and we just adopted two children. So we have a 31-year-old, a 27-year-old, a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 6 and 7-year-old.
So we literally have the Brady Bunch going on. Like
Yes, yes.
seriously. Okay, so let's kind of pick apart because I want to bring all this back to your business with candle making
Yeah.
because I think it's super important and it just really I'm hearing now it's starting to flow with what you do for living and then going to school. So you're with John L now. So when did he come into the picture? How long ago?
Ooh, 2007.
Okay.
So we've been together quite a while, but we have no children together.
Right.
So
Okay, so may I ask, how did things end with your ex? What kind of were you in any kind of particular situation or just things dissolved on their own? Like,
I kind of I kind of had this feeling like I wasn't where I was supposed to
okay.
be. Um, Nobody mistreated me or anything like that. So I was feeling kind of like I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and this
Mhm.
wasn't who I was supposed to be with, which not the best to figure that out after you have a child together,
Right.
but it happens. So um, a lot of that stuff is what has shaped me into who I am now. So definitely, I felt like needed something more. Like
Yeah.
my soul wasn't being fed. So I had to make that decision, and I did that while my daughter was young. So
Okay. That's a great way to dissolve things. I mean, we love who we love. We can't help that. And
yeah,
things change over time. And then the fact that you were able to, you know, understand those things when she was young enough to hopefully not be super impacted. Because even if it's
right.
amicable separation, it's still hard on the kids.
It
Um,
was hard. She was very young. She
yeah.
was a year and a half. So
Okay.
she was very young, and I say it very eloquently now, but it wasn't always amicable. My ex-husband actually had a very difficult time with it,
Okay.
and it led to a lot of turmoil over the years, but I just chose to keep going on my
Yeah.
path. That was what was important. So I couldn't be the best mom I could be if I
Right.
wasn't happy myself. So
Interesting. So for my situation, so my first marriage, this is so bad because I'm so bad with dates, but I think where's my mom? My mom needs to get on here. She fact checked me. She remembers all that stuff. but I was in my early 20s. I know I had finished my master's, um, but we tried to get pregnant. I ended up having a miscarriage,
Oh,
and it was unfortunate. I was really, really heartbroken, and I took it very hard. I felt like I didn't have the support at the time from him, but we were still kids. And
yeah.
so like now I'm looking back and we just we were literally kids growing up together because I was um 8, 19 when we got together.
Yeah.
So it was like his parents lived like 20 minutes from college, and I would go over there. His parents helped raise me while I was there, and we just became very comfortable. And, I mean, we did fall in love and had a great
Yeah.
relationship, but I could see that this was starting to happen. And I did some stupid shit, I'm not gonna lie. Like one part of me, well, I am Gemini, and we've talked about astrology.
Yeah, right.
So, one half of me knew this wasn't right, but the other half of me, which was like more the devilish side, just really didn't do the right thing.
Right.
But I ultimately knew I had to move on. And the really cool thing is that I still have a relationship with him today.
That's
And
awesome.
right, I mean, it's incredible how much we both matured and how much I've seen him grow over the years. And there were times that we didn't talk. I mean, there's a long stretch of time that we
Yeah.
didn't talk. I mean, he was very angry with me. So it's understandable. But again, like I did as well, I kept to my path and just kept going. And so many other crazy things happened. But again,
Yeah.
you stayed the path and rolled on. Okay, so how old were the kids when you met Janelle?
My daughter was about 6 years old, going on
Okay.
7.
And tell me, like, how did you meet? Now that I know him, I feel like I know you guys so well, and I only know you as a couple. So, like, what brought you two together?
Um, Actually, it's a funny story. So he used to actually work at a car dealership,
Okay.
and he was doing cold calls or whatever, and I had purchased a car there before, and he called to see if I was interested in a car or whatever,
Yeah.
and I was like, not really, maybe, kind of like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I was in my own mood. Like, I'm a very straightforward person, so I was just
Yeah.
like, well, you better not waste my time. Like, I'm not coming up there and sitting there all day or for like hours. So he probably thought, man, this woman's like, B
Right.
word. And
Right.
uh, and then I got to the dealership, and then somebody else met me outside or whatever and was like, "Can I help you?" And I said I was looking for John L. And they said, "Oh, he doesn't work here." And I was like, "What?" Like I just got off the phone with him. So that was a long story because then he had me sit somewhere, and then another salesman was trying to get me to buy with them. And then he walked in after and was like, "Hi." And they introduced me, and he's like, "Didn't I talk to you on the phone?" So that was like a whole thing there where they were trying to like all get me to buy a car.
Wow.
And I ended up not buying a car. So I left there, and then a couple months went by, and his father was actually dating somebody who lived a couple of condos down from me, and
Okay.
he seen me outside, and he was like, "You want to sweep my porch?" And I was like, "No, I have my own stuff to do. Get away from me." Because I couldn't see who he was. He had on like a ball cap and dark
Yeah.
glasses and a sweatsuit. And when I met him, he was in a suit and tie.
Right. Right.
I'm like, I didn't expect him to be there. So his dad was there, and we ended up that day talking for I think 3 or 4 hours, just standing
Wow.
outside. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of went from there.
Awesome. And then when was it on the episode about you were talking about that you had made a candle for him out of
I
a
did,
gift?
yeah. So we were together for about a couple months. That first Christmas, we met in the fall, and
Okay.
in that first Christmas, I took the first roses he gave to me and made them into a candle, a gel candle, so you could see the roses floating in the wax. And he was like, "I've never seen this before." So,
Yeah.
so we have two of them actually, because when we got married, I did the same thing with
Oh,
the roses from our bouquet. So,
Okay, so where did this come from? What made you decide to do, like, why? Why? Were you already thinking about candles? Like, what
I
possessed you?
had like I grew up doing a lot of different things,
Yeah.
so crafting was kind of always my thing. So back then it was a craft. It was just like, oh, I'm bored, let's do this
Yeah.
today, which I tend to do a lot.
Okay.
So that kind of led to that. I didn't really know God a tenth of what I know now about candles. I was just oh, he just brought it into me. So there's the one from
Oh,
our
I love
wedding.
it. Oh, that is gorgeous.
So yeah,
So
so
cool.
all the roses are in
Oh,
there.
I love it.
So
Thanks,
um
Janelle.
so she said thanks, Jono. So yeah, so it was just a craft back then. It was just like a hobby.
Uh-huh.
Um and then skipping way ahead, our kids were almost all grown, and it's a hard transition, like from going from parenting kids to having adult
Right.
kids. And that's something people don't ever tell you. And I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? They don't have to listen to me and I have to change the way I speak?
Yeah.
And like, it was just such a hard transition. And I started to feel once all of them were out of the house and stuff, I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
What purpose do I have? Like, and then I realized slowly that I didn't do anything for myself anymore. I didn't do anything that
Mhm.
I enjoyed or that. So I started getting back into making stuff, and it started with lotions and lip balm and lip scrubs and cuticle oils and
Mhm.
soap, and then candles came to be. So
So, and now, how long ago was all of that then?
literally, it started last year. Or
Wow.
the year before last year, let me correct that, 2023. Yeah.
So you were just working and grinding and doing your thing, raising your kids and just being
Yeah.
mom. Like just,
Yeah. In the middle of all of that, we took in the kids, and there was four at
yeah.
first, and it was a super hard. Like I probably have to say that was the hardest thing in my entire life I've ever gone through. They were family,
Mhm.
and it ended up breaking apart family connections.
Wow.
So yeah, it was very tough at first. And so now 3 years later and in that process, that's kind of where this all came to be.
Yeah.
Like it was teaching me to take care of myself and to do
Mhm.
things that bring me joy, but also teaching my kids and my grandkids and the kids we adopted that where you start isn't where you have to
Right.
be. You can always grow, you can always learn, and always work for something that makes you feel good.
That's beautiful. And I think, did you say that to your children while they were older, like, or the grandchildren as well? Like, when did that like really be, when were you able to really get that out to them, that
Um,
message?
I I tried to always get that message out when they were younger. I don't know that I did that the right or best
Uh,
way. But as adults we talk about it. They're aware of how I
mhm.
feel and what I want them to learn and gain from it.
Yeah.
And everybody takes their own path.
Right.
But for me it was more a path of healing. Like
Yeah.
I had to learn that there were things in me. I came from a very hard background. I came from
Okay.
a background that most people don't come from. And I grew up poor,
Mhm.
like literally poor, and my parents had eighth grade education.
Yeah.
So to go through the things that I went through and to be able to come to where I am today, those are that's a journey that I had to work through, and you do that through personal growth.
So let's go back to that. So seeing your parents grow up, what did you think your trajectory was supposed to be? Did you always believe that you would be something, or did you feel like that you would be not necessarily like them, but say, okay, well, I'm supposed to grow up, I'm gonna go straight to work, I'm gonna have kids, and then that's it. Was that
No, I
okay?
grew up, I have five older brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And I grew up in an environment where I wasn't like, I didn't get that typical, you can do anything you want,
Yeah.
you're going to be great. Like, I grew up, my parents were older parents by the time I was born. My siblings are all like 12, 11, 10, 9, and 7 years older than
So
me.
you're
So
the
my experience,
baby.
yeah, my experience with my parents was very different from my siblings. And some of that stuff I didn't even learn about or really understand until just a couple of years ago when my brother passed away.
Oh,
And
wow.
it
Sorry to
brought up
hear that.
conversations between my sisters and I learned a lot then, like how different our experiences were because I was so much younger than everybody. I didn't have the same childhood.
Right.
And so I had a lot of from family and from my siblings, like, you're never going to be any good or you're going to end up in jail. You're never going to. I was a trouble kid. Like, I got in trouble
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't want to do my homework and I didn't want to be in school and I definitely didn't want to be in class. I was the kid skipping school. So I
Wow.
never had, like, I just never had that, oh, you can do anything you want, or you know what I mean? So it was kind of always me climbing out of where I came from.
Okay. And so you said the youngest one above you is 7 or 9 years?
7 years older than me.
You couldn't even learn from them because
No,
by the time you were, say, 7, they were such in different spots. You had
correct.
no role models, no.
Yeah,
And then,
nothing.
so did your parents, okay, so looking, no, well, you're a grandparent too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have
So
four
did you feel
grandkids.
like that was more like the dynamic or kind of in between a parent and a grandparent?
It took me a long time to adjust to being a grandparent too. Like it was not something that settled in like right away. I was
Well,
like, wait a minute.
I mean, do you think your parents acted more like a grandparent than a parent? Like, how did they act towards you? Because you
I
don't even know how they raise your siblings
right.
almost.
Yeah, no, I think my parents definitely were parents to me, but I think they were kind of in their own world. They were older parents. So like when my
Yeah.
kids when my parents had me, they were already in their 30s. So a lot of
Okay.
my friends, their parents were in their, mid 20s or early 20s when they had
Yeah.
them. And so I grew up in a time when a lot of my friends didn't have parents still together in the same
Well,
home
already,
or
even back
right.
then.
So I had the older parents that were still married
Yeah.
and all of that.
Right.
So it was just a different world then. But I think my parents were parents. I just didn't let them be parents. I kind of just did whatever because what were they gonna do to
Right. Right.
me?
Right. They're like, oh, let her go. We're
Yeah,
too old for this.
yeah. They're like, whatever. She'll be home later, and then I would get yelled at, and I'd be like, it's okay. Like,
Oh my God.
yeah, I was not a good teenager.
Oh, hilarious. Well, it's funny. Like I see a lot of memes out there, and it does seem like I don't know. I don't know if there's a trend now where parents are older. Like I feel like I'm an older parent. I had Raven when I was 30. Um, but yeah, like she's out at a game now, and I'm like, where are you? Who are you with? Like I feel like I have no control over
Yeah.
her whatsoever. I'm like, well, what time are the games done? I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in a meeting from 7 to 8, so. I'm like, figure it out. I don't know what to tell you. She's
Yeah.
working, so at least she has a little bit of money, but it's just, it's so different from when I,
It it is, yeah. I mean, I worked as a teenager. I worked a lot. I did babysitting. I worked for
yeah.
a couple that owned a local movie theater.
Oh, cool.
So like I did a lot of different things, but yeah, I just whatever my parents said, I just didn't listen to. So as a parent, I think I was way more strict than
Yeah.
my parents were, and I think that was probably overcompensating for what I thought I missed out on, right?
Well, I saw
So
how you were with your son. I was like, damn, I wish I could have been that way. You're like, snap a finger, and he's like, oh, like but I didn't need that attention. I
right.
didn't need to be spoken to that way.
Yeah.
But you know how you were. So that you're like, that's a means to keep him. You don't want to smother your children, obviously,
No.
but it's a way to keep him in line. You know what's out there.
Yeah. There's a
No,
balance, right? Like you want your
yeah,
kids to be
yeah,
safe, but you want
right,
them to learn to be independent. And
right.
I think with these kids, because they're 6 and 7, and our kids, like I said, are much older. So
Yeah.
we're kind of going back through. And I think the strangest part is my oldest grandchild, my granddaughter, is literally the same age as them. She's 6 months
Oh,
younger
wow.
than one of
Yeah.
them and 6 months older than one of them. So they're literally right lined up with each other. But that was a balancing act because she was our only grandchild at the time. And then all of a sudden, these other kids were around who were actually her second cousins,
Right.
but she wasn't used to other kids being around, and we weren't used to having little kids
Yeah.
anymore. And then we were enjoying, we spoiled her, and we were enjoying, like, oh, we get to be the grandparents and do all.
Right.
And then we were like, wait a minute, we can't treat her more special than the other two that we're now raising. So she
Right.
kind of gets a balance with us. Like, she gets the parent slash grandparent type of
Okay.
relationship. But yeah, these guys, I still keep a little bit of a, I want them to learn, especially their background they came from. So they have to learn a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've learned a little bit to let some things slide and not
Yeah.
worry so much about every little thing. So you grow and you learn,
Yeah.
and we have those conversations with our kids all the time. They make sure to tell us how they felt growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I think if you are in a situation where you do have a good family dynamic and your children are older, like to have the ability to hear that, really hear them
Yeah.
because you're so far removed from all of that you can. But that's great. So it's almost like a second chance, if you will. Like you have these beautiful children now that you're raising, and it's like, okay, where can I do better? What have I learned? What can I do differently? Or what no longer serves me? Because they're obviously very different children. So you have to also take that into,
Yeah, and I think just being at a different point in life, like we talked about being a young parent versus an older parent. So like when I was 20, I was a single mom. I
yeah.
was, struggling to make ends meet.
Mhm.
had the stress of making sure I could get to work. Did I have a car? Did they have diapers? Did they have daycare? Did the school cancel for the day? Like you have all those stresses that
Yeah.
when you already are tight on money or trying to make it on your own, that adds to your daily pressure.
Right.
And then kids are kids, right? So they're going to have their moods and they don't know how to express themselves. And those emotions build up. And I think the hardest time for us was actually when our kids were
Yeah.
teenagers because they wanted to rebel and do whatever they wanted to do. And we were like, no, we're still your
Yeah.
parents. And, so it was just a very tough dynamic because our entire family was blended.
Right.
But
Right.
now we don't have those same pressures. Like we're not like, oh my God, we're not gonna be able to pay rent next week.
Mhm.
Or you know what I mean? Like so you just have different things on your shoulders at different points in life. And we don't have those same burdens, thankfully. We're blessed enough
Yeah.
not to. So it's just different
Yeah.
now.
I love that you're taking a step back and you're not cornering yourself or almost having a traumatic response where you're living back then because things are so different. So you're learning from it and
Yeah.
then revising what's best for you now and given the circumstances. So you don't want to let things go too far because you end up with
Yes.
the teenager that I have, and then
Girl, we all have the
oh my
teenagers. Trust me.
God, oh
There,
my God,
it is a phase, and I can tell you, when my son moved out, and he moved out, and he came back home, and we had a really long day one day, at court, and we we came home from literally 9 hours at the courthouse, and my son brought over his girlfriend and said, "Mom, this is so and so," and they had like this really weird way to be like pretending they were holding a baby and talking to a baby to tell me that they were going to have a baby, and it was the first time I was meeting her, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like
God, they really
they
were.
really were, hence my 7-year-old granddaughter.
Surprise.
And yeah, so it was a long, but there was a period in time where like he was mad at me for, I couldn't even tell you what now, but he wouldn't talk to me for a few weeks, and I was like devastated. I was like, why won't he talk to me? And now we're close as ever. He comes over,
Yeah,
usually like 3 times a week, 3 times a week with the baby. Well, she's not a baby anymore, but yeah.
yeah,
So you go.
yeah. I mean, we're each all going through things, and it's so hard to know. Oh, is that your daughter there?
No. Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
that's
She's right there. Whoa.
hi. What's her name?
Amari.
Hi, Amari. Thank you for yeah, awesome. Thanks for joining. It's so cool. Cheering mom on. Awesome. Okay, so it's interesting. So you mentioned not that long ago about taking care of yourself and hence the candle company, but you did do something that you singled yourself out for to take care of yourself, which it was a
Yeah.
surgery.
Yes, I
And
did.
so tell us about the surgery and when that was.
So back to when I had teenagers. I my whole life I've battled with being overweight, not being overweight, and I've been both. Um by the time our kids were teenagers and they had their own emotional struggles, I'll say, and challenges just with life, and then us trying to manage that with and for them. And we are, we're a couple, so we have our own issues and our own growth and our own relationship dynamic. And we're literally raising each other's
Yeah.
kids because we don't have any
Right.
together. So it was a very tough time. And I got to a point where I felt like I know what to do, but I couldn't get myself to do what I needed to do to
Mhm.
lose the weight. No matter what I did, I couldn't stick to it. I couldn't stay focused. I didn't have the drive I used to have. And I'm only 5'1",
Yeah.
and I literally weighed almost 225 pounds.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Hmm.
And I was like, always looking for like just a little nudge, but I was like, I never even really thought about surgery. And I had seen a commercial for like a weight loss balloon or something, and I'd never seen it before. And I was like, I talked to a doctor about it, and they were like, have you ever thought about this? And I was like, no.
Who
So
said that? The doctor said that,
yeah,
or
they
okay.
introduced me to the thought of the weight loss surgery. And so I
Interesting.
started that process, and it was a 6-month long process because I had to go to a nutritionist and a doctor once a month.
Okay.
Every month I couldn't miss an appointment. I had to be weighed. I had to go to the nutritionist with food logs. Like it was a journey. And um so I had the gastric sleeve procedure in
Okay.
2019, and I lost over 100 pounds, almost
Oh,
111 pounds. So
absolutely amazing. So let me backtrack. What does food mean to you, or what did it mean to you before your surgery?
I don't know if it necessarily had a meaning. I definitely would emotionally
Okay.
eat. Like if I was not always good at recognizing my emotions. So
Hmm.
for me, I would, if I was stressed out, I would eat, or just habitual stuff like, oh, it's nighttime and the kids are in bed, I'm gonna sit down and eat chips in front of the TV or whatever. Like totally not making the best food choices. It didn't happen to me. I did it to myself.
Right.
And so I loved the process I went through. Halfway through the process, I had to switch doctors, and that made me really nervous because my insurance company dropped the doctor I was going
Oh,
to,
wow.
and you can't miss an appointment. So they all have like their own programs that they
Mhm.
do. And I was actually blessed to land where I did.
Yeah.
And this doctor had literally his own program in the hospital in a county. Oh, we drove almost an hour once a week to go to these
Wow.
meetings and stuff. So
It was that
um,
important to you.
it,
Like that's what you have to do. That's amazing.
it was, and John L. would come to the meetings with me
Yeah.
so he could learn about it, and he met the people, and he was always in the meetings, being part of everything. My daughter Amari, who's on here,
Yeah.
thank you, Amari, was was so supportive too. She would come to the meetings too. So it was just a crazy journey,
Yeah.
and I learned a lot there, and they basically reteach you how to eat healthy and
Right.
just taking time for yourself and doing what you need to do. So it wasn't just, oh, I had surgery and I lost this weight. I would literally drive 40 minutes almost to go to the casino in the bad weather and go walking. And I would walk almost an hour a day. And then when I started going
Um,
to the gym like 3 months later, and I've done that on and off since then. And I went back to stress eating actually when we took the kids in.
okay.
And so I ended up gaining about 25 pounds back that I didn't want.
Okay. So
So
you mentioned you lost. Okay. So you lost a bunch, and you told me that you wanted to get back down. So
yes,
did you ever reach the weight that you wanted to be at?
I got so small, it was unhealthy. So I
And what was that from? Was that due to stress or because you just weren't
no,
eating?
the surgery, what I literally followed their eating plan. So like after the surgery, after about 3 or 4 weeks, they start having you eat solid food.
Okay.
And and after the procedure, it's hard to eat at
Yeah.
first. So I would literally start with like a scrambled egg, but I couldn't eat a scrambled egg. It would take me 4 meals to eat a scrambled egg,
Wow.
or a hard boiled egg. And so you eat, and they were very big on protein first. So you couldn't eat anything else until you ate 2 full ounces of protein at a meal.
Okay.
So for months, it was literally just, it took me probably 3 months, 3.5 months to be able to eat like a cucumber or carrots, or like, it was so long to be able to eat that 2 ounces of protein to get to the vegetables, which is your next
Wow.
food group, because they go in order of priority for your vitamins and
Yeah.
nutrients. So then after you can eat 2 ounces of protein, you add vegetables. And then when you could eat 2 ounces of protein and a quarter cup of vegetables,
Yeah.
then you add fruit. And then you'd have to complete that quarter cup of fruit before, and you, if you're full, you stop. Like if you don't eat it, you don't eat it, and you're done eating.
Okay.
And you don't eat the starch until you can eat all your protein, all your veggies, all your fruit. Yeah, so it was, but because I followed that and the way my body reacted to the surgery, and I was exercising, I actually got down to 109 pounds, and I couldn't fit in adult clothes. I was literally
Wow.
wearing kids' clothes.
Wow.
It was
And you
insane.
said you had the sleeve, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but when they do a sleeve, can they determine how much of the stomach they essentially cut off, or is it pretty standard for everybody?
They do the same for everybody. Like everybody's stomach is obviously a different size when they go in and
Right.
have the surgery, but they only leave you, I believe, with about 15% of your stomach. It's literally a sleeve. It looks kind of like a banana. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then now over time with whatever material they use, because you've gained the weight back from stress eating, I assume you're eating. Well, I guess to see you eat when we were at Jakeem's, which it didn't seem like a lot,
No,
but
I can't eat a lot at once still. So like
so
I've gained weight,
yeah,
obviously, like I said, but I didn't do that because I was overeating. I did that
yeah,
because my stress eating, I was like, oh, I can eat this piece of chocolate and it won't fill me up, but it makes me,
feel better.
okay for a little while. And I would go back and get, so those little pieces of chocolate just started adding up over
Yeah,
time. And I also had stopped going to the gym
yeah,
at the same time. So I was like, okay, we had bought a condo, and then we ended up fixing up the condo, and in the course of that year, probably about 4 months later, I had stopped going to the gym, but we were also took these kids in, and my whole life changed. I was like, oh my God, I can't go to work. I don't know what I'm going to do. They don't have daycare. They don't have school. They haven't been to the doctors. Now I
wow,
don't know how long. Two of them can't even speak. They didn't know how to brush their own hair or brush their own teeth, or so like it was a very crazy time for us. And
mm,
then we we didn't know where we were as a couple, because our kids had just all finally moved out, and we were
yeah.
like, oh, we're gonna get this condo, and we're gonna do, we had this plan. And we literally went and was like, let's get an SUV, and we're gonna go on weekend camping trips, and we'll go biking and kayaking, and we'll take the dog with us.
You
And
were so
a week later
close.
and a week later,
Oh
the
my God.
situation arose, and we had 4 kids, and we were like, well, that's not really why we bought the SUV. But so yeah, so then our life just kind of took another detour,
Yeah,
and it took us probably a year and a half to really emotionally wrap around that with everything that came with it. And it was a very hard decision to be like, okay, I have to cut these family members off, and I just
yeah,
can't be part of that
right.
anymore. So it was a hard decision. But once I did that, my stress leveled out. And so
Yeah,
it was kind of twofold, because at the same time, I also busied myself with finding stuff to do that I like to do, which led to where I am now.
yeah.
So now I'm busy and still trying to find time to carve out for me, but I still enjoy what I do. So
Right.
yeah.
And you enjoy all of it. So you
Yeah.
enjoy your full-time job and you're trying to grow a business on the side that's really seems like it's starting to flourish. And
Yes.
um, I just love how in love you are with it and wanting to push for more things and like I told you, you're very similar to my boss, Darlene, and just ideas are just flying out into the atmosphere that you can't even keep up
You
with.
can't, and that drives my husband crazy, but you
Yeah.
can't. Yeah. He's like, wait, what? When did this happen? Yeah, no, and I think for the business, I get that personal satisfaction, but
Yeah.
through our journey taking these kids in and I said we started with four, we adopted
Yeah.
two. So there's obviously, I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's their personal business, but for unspoken reasons, we couldn't keep all four of
Yeah.
them. And that made me realize that there's a huge community of foster kids that
Yeah.
don't have support. And
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So, like, when they're in foster care, they have all the support in the world.
Right.
And when they age out of foster care, they have nobody usually. Not
Um,
everybody, but usually they have nobody. So, a majority of kids end up homeless,
mhm.
don't know how to get a job, don't know how to do banking, budgeting, any of that stuff. So, doing the business, when I really decided to start doing the business, what I loved about that was I'm able now to give back to a cause that does
Oh,
that. And
really?
yeah, so there's a foundation that's nationwide based out of Los Angeles. And
Uh,
they have, I think, 250 something chapters, but they help kids that age out of foster care secure an apartment or a home of some sort that they have available to them, and they help them furnish it.
wow.
Yeah, and then they ask them, so when you go through that program, they ask for those people that they've helped come back now, and they help other people. So
Okay.
they can help by volunteering their time with the organization. They can help by refurnishing furniture for young families or foster kids that need it. So it's a really great organization, and we wanted to give back to a niche of people that don't have a ton of funding anywhere.
Yeah.
So, foster care, there's a ton of organizations that give to foster care. There's a ton of people that donate to cancer. There's a ton of people, you know what
Right.
I mean? So that's one thing with our products. We take a portion of the profit every year, and at the end of the year, we donate to that organization.
Wow.
Yeah. So that being said, my ultimate goal is to open my own foundation to work within our own communities to have underprivileged youth, whether they're foster care or not, will
Yeah.
learn basic life skills. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so awesome. Oh my God, that is really, really cool. And it's interesting because I'm trying to find my way in that area as well. And my brother killed himself almost 3 years ago
Oh,
now.
sorry.
And yeah, thank you. And I'm kind of trying to transition my business into something different, but also try to work more with people with mental health issues.
Yes.
And so like I'm not there yet because I don't know how to go about doing that. But, I think for anyone who's searching for something like that is to start with an organization that's near you, or you believe in their mission and vision, and to volunteer, or if you have the financial means to donate money. So I think that for me would be something to look into because I'm close.
Yeah.
I'm so close to helping, to bringing that peace of mind to myself for what I went through, and giving back to those who've lost as well. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. I love that you found that, and wow, you have the whole thing is laid out. This is beautiful. I love
I mean,
that.
I don't know what it's going to take to get there, but that's
Yeah,
my ultimate goal.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is so,
Yeah.
and not many people have that at all. And everything that you've been through, having, it seems like you and Janelle have been super tested over the years.
Yeah.
But he seems so hardcore, seems still very much in love with you and in love with what you're doing.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's just as invested and knows everything about it, which is
He
super
he
cool.
does. He is by far our biggest
Yeah,
supporter, and he's supported through everything. It was
yeah,
actually his idea to take the kids in when we took them in, even though they're
wow,
my extended family.
yeah,
So yeah, it's he's always supported
that's
in what we do.
so
So
cool.
yeah.
I know it's funny, like Ori will start talking to someone at the gym or telling them about me. I'm like, he's my spokesperson. I'm like, there's no
Yeah,
possible way I would have been able to eloquently say any of what you said. Like you can
correct.
rattle off my business in 5 minutes, and I'm like,
Yeah, me,
I
I'm just like,
do,
oh, I make candles, and he's like, no, you gotta see these.
right? Because I don't show off, or I forget. Okay, this sounds really bad, but I forget how good I am, right? And I forget how much I've actually accomplished. And I feel like
Yeah,
you do the same
I
thing.
do.
Like,
I don't even think it's forgetting, Nikki. I think we don't honor ourselves enough in
yeah,
those moments to recognize it.
yeah,
I'm guilty of it
yeah,
too. I'm like, it's just a candle I made, but everybody else
right,
is like, I love that candle, and I'm like, really? Like, and that's how it came to
yeah,
be. Was I literally made a whole bunch of like whipped body butters
yeah,
and lotions and a whole bunch of stuff for Mother's Day almost 2 years ago. And people just started asking to buy it. Are
yeah,
you gonna sell this? You gonna sell this? And I was like, I don't know. I was just gifting it to you guys.
right,
Like, so it kind of just led to this, and we've just all everything we've made from the business has gone back into the business.
yeah,
As you see where we started
right,
and where we are now.
right,
And we don't take anything out for ourselves yet, and we do donate at the end of the year. So I just want to be able to give back and still
yeah,
be able to keep things at a price range where most people can enjoy them. So
right. Yeah, and I love how small businesses start that way. And it's just like you do something because you love it so much. And then next
yeah,
thing you know, it's like you're giving of gifts away and people are just like flocking to
yeah,
it. But you can tell your heart and soul goes into it just from, I can feel it. Oh my God. I can't, okay, fine. I'm going to show this because I keep freaking hitting it. So here's one of the candles that you gave me. This
yes,
one is what, can you,
water
yeah,
lily,
it's backwards.
yes,
So this one is water lily. And I keep hitting the top. So I keep bumping into it. But you guys, these products are absolutely wonderful. I've always really enjoyed candles, and I'm in the health and wellness space. And the problem is the more you know, the harder it is to buy
it
anything. And
is,
I hate that we're in this world that we have to do that, but it also has opened up an opportunity for companies like you, Pretty Little Things, to do something like
yeah,
this, to get back to what way things used to be, like just very pure food grade products that smell great, that aren't going to damage your freaking lungs,
yeah,
and are going to nourish, now you have the body butters, and I get to try your soap
yes,
soon. And to
yes.
nourish your skin and your lips, and especially car air fresheners.
Oh,
Like these things are toxic that you
yes,
get from, I don't even want to name brands, but any
yeah,
name brand that you can get in the
I know.
store it's bad. And all of the is it I forget what the scent is. Like it's a chemical that's released that's supposed to be toxic from burning things. It's not
Phthalates,
phthalate, it's not phthalates, it's something else. But anyways,
phthalates.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, it's scary, and
yeah,
we're already in a world of having to all of our vegetables aren't as
right.
enriching
Yeah.
because the soil
Yes.
sucks, and you're paying out the ass for good animal product. It's
I get,
it's it's
yeah.
hard.
It's
It's
crazy.
hard.
And that's what I love about what I make. I take everything I do, I keep it clean, and
Yeah,
it's all food grade products. You can literally rub our candles, as you've seen
yeah,
before, into your skin, which
yeah,
is awesome
yeah.
because what else can you do that with?
Right, right. Like, why not? Like, I don't have my perfume. Let me like scoop some out
Right.
of my candle.
Even a car air freshener or the
Yeah,
ones you plug in at your house or the aerosol ones, like those have chemicals in them
yeah,
that make them smell
yeah.
good. And these are made literally from blends of essential
Mhm.
oils, and um it's just great. Like even the car air fresheners, those are essential oils. So you're literally getting pure true aromatherapy. And I only
Right.
use the therapeutic grade essential oils
Yeah.
with it. So, yeah,
It's a means to fight back, I think. And it's not just a candle, it's not just a body butter, it's not just an air freshener, it's a movement.
yeah,
It really is. It's a movement towards being clean, being healthy, fighting back against cheaply made products that
yeah,
are really, really hurting us. And we're in a day and age where we're all about biohacking, but I don't think we realize how some of these things really are impacting us
yeah,
negatively. And half of us women, we're in our mid to late 40s and we're going crazy in our own right and we don't know
Right.
why. These are all things that are affecting our
And
hormones. And
that's
so the
why
cleaner,
I like what I make because, ready,
yeah,
I spoke on it. We neglect ourselves. We
mm-hmm,
forget to take care of
yep,
ourselves. I like making what I make, but the best part about what I make is other people enjoying it because they're taking
yeah,
that time
yep,
for themselves. So I get self-care from doing it, and then
right,
I'm able to share that for somebody else to have a moment of self-care for themselves because you're
right,
lighting a candle or using lotion or a body oil or any of that stuff. That's
yeah,
self-care. That's taking, even if it's 10 minutes for yourself, an hour for yourself, even if you're
yep,
doing chores around the house, you're getting that therapeutic calmness from having the
yes.
candles or the what, you know what I mean? So it's a twofold thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why, you know, it's funny, like I am a fitness coach focused on dealing with all sorts of things from athletics, bodybuilders, women in perimenopause, helping people get off of medications. And I work at a cafe. However, what I do love about the cafe is the community of it and the fact that Darlene uses all locally sourced things. She's
Yes.
very pure in her products. She gets the best, sources the best products that she can find, whether it's flour, vanilla beans, eggs, and she's just giving back to the community like you are. And you know that you're going to get a smile on someone's face and that they're getting a very homemade feeling food
Yep.
that will actually nourish them. And yeah, she's got desserts and cinnamon rolls and things like that. But again, they're not made from commercially made products. They're not coming out of a box.
Right.
They're pure ingredients that are coming together with love and it's there's not enough of that.
Yeah, and I tell every person that I meet personally when we're selling our candles and stuff, I ask them, listen, I don't care if you're even unhappy with something or it didn't smell the way you thought or
Yep.
you didn't like please let us know, not just to let us know, but we make it right. Like if there's
Yeah.
something we didn't like, we'll correct it, we'll replace it, we'll, like, I want people to truly get joy out of it
Yeah.
because that's what it's about. It's what it does for me and it's what I want to share. So I
Exactly.
hope that that message comes along with our
Yep.
products.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like me, like making a burrito. Like, you know, you can just get it and slap it together and throw it together, and the wrap is peeling. But I'm like, no, I'm folding it and doing it in a way that's going to be presented pretty, and that
Yes.
they're going to be able to eat it without it falling apart. It's very similar to that. And even with my business, I do a consultation process that's free, and I know so much about a person before I even have them, you know, pay anything because I want to make sure that we're a right fit. Like you said,
Right.
if there's something wrong or something doesn't smell right, let me know and you'll correct it. And same with me. If something is off, let me know. Like if there's something that you know, food that doesn't work for
Right.
you or something's not sitting right in your stomach, like I can't read your mind. And if you don't communicate, you're not going to get the best out of me. I can't,
Right. Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and the same for you.
Yeah, and you know you work personally with people being in that business, so
Yeah.
a big thing for that is like you have to be able to vibe with that person.
Yeah.
Your personalities have to be able to, you have to feel comfortable with them. So
Yeah.
yeah, not everybody is meant to be in somebody else's life, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And people I think have a hard time recognizing that just because you are related to somebody or
Yeah.
you meet somebody or you work with somebody that you have to be that they're meant to be there, and that's not necessarily the case, and I think often we dismiss that and we're like, oh no, we have to like this person,
Yeah.
or but if we're honest with ourselves, I feel like so much pressure comes off of our shoulders
Yep.
because we're not holding that in.
Yeah. I've had to do the same thing. My almost my entire family is here in East Providence and Riverside, and I love them all. I will always love my family, but I don't have a relationship with
Yeah.
them. And when I moved here, I was like, I'm here, and you know, I'm thinking like they're gonna be open arms, and I'm like, oh shit, Nick, you're like 40 and you're not 10 anymore, and these people have grown up without you because I didn't grow up here. You know what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
like a whole lifetime has passed by and I'm a different person. They're different
Yes.
people. But in my heart and in my head was that 10, 12-year old who would come here in the summers and get to meet all my family. And so I was blown away at the fact that I wasn't received the way I thought I would
Yeah.
and wasn't happy with myself either. So it was definitely a combination. But even since being here since 2017, not much has changed. I feel
Yes.
like I've changed. I feel like I've been on a healing journey, but I don't feel like I've been able to really get in. Like I'm having to make my own family.
Yes, yes. And that's you and I didn't even know that about you, but can I tell you that is so parallel
Yeah.
because it's hard when you can recognize things and move on to something healthier and more
Yep.
healing and
Yep.
people that you love and you care about or you grew up with aren't in that same headspace or know how to get there or even think they may not even think that they need to or you
Right.
know what I mean? So
Yep.
they may not even see that there's something that could make them feel better
Right.
or be better or do
Yep.
better and that they're and not that what they're doing is wrong, it's
Right.
just different.
Not my
So
path. Yeah.
yeah, even my daughter, the one that's on there, she's probably listening like, don't talk about me, but like
Yeah.
she's 21 and she has her own baby and she's been
Yeah.
coming back home periodically and she was like, Mommy, aren't you making dinner? Mommy, aren't you gonna do?
Does
And
she
I'm
call you
like,
mommy still?
yeah.
Raven calls me mommy. I love it. I love it. I
Yeah,
hope it
so
never changes.
so yeah, she calls me mommy, and my other daughter calls me mama.
Okay.
So, or
I
mom.
love
So,
that
but
too.
yeah, but she's like, aren't you gonna take care of me? And I'm like, baby, you're an adult. You have your own kid. I love you. You're welcome for
Right.
dinner, but I'm probably not cooking tonight. Or,
Yeah.
but they're so used to the mom that is every day come home from
Yep.
work, cook in the kitchen, do. It's all about everybody else, and I've been for the last 5 years just saying. I need to first it was I went all the way to the other side like no I'm doing what I have to do. I don't care if the dishes get done.
Yeah.
I don't care if laundry gets done. I don't care if homework is done. I don't care.
Yeah.
And they were teenagers and that probably wasn't necessarily right and I've had to find that balance over
Yeah.
time and I'm still finding it. It is what it
It's
is, but
hard.
yeah, it is hard, but
Oh,
I'm definitely learning to be. It's okay if I don't want to cook dinner tonight. It's
yeah.
okay if I don't want to take care of somebody today.
She's learning
Yeah,
who
yeah,
Karen is.
yeah,
Not, it's different than mommy. She's learning who Karen is and what Karen is trying to do for herself, her husband, and still her family, but it just looks a little bit different. And she'll
absolutely.
grow from that. I think it'll be great what she sees
Yeah,
how you morph into something a little bit different and beautiful and she'll have something to envision herself going through, whatever it is that she ends
yeah.
up doing. So she has a great example. I think that's super
Oh,
cool. And
thank
that's
you.
what I'm trying to do for Raven too. And I think everything that we're doing, I just love how well we connect and
Yeah,
it just feels right. It feels good. And wherever it takes us, it takes us. And yeah, it's
yeah.
cool.
It is. Yeah, I mean, even just this, like, honestly, if nothing else happened, I met you. You're an
Yes.
awesome person, and we connected, and we have a lot of
Yes.
parallels, and we have a lot of same beliefs and
Yep.
thoughts and desires.
Yeah.
So I think every day brings a new opportunity
Yep.
for just about anything you want. And
Yeah.
I think so often people want that instant gratification.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, well, I did this, so I woke up and went to school today. What do I get for
Oh,
that? Or,
yes.
you know,
That's
I woke up
Raven
and
all day long.
you mean you want me to go to work?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Right. Right. She's like, I have to
yeah,
go to school tomorrow. I'm like,
yeah.
like,
I mean,
is that a
my kids are all
question?
grown, and it cracks me up because, and I love them all. They're all unique in their own way,
Yeah.
and I love how like some of them are young moms and they're not working, and they'll be like, "Mom, what do you make?" For dinner and I'm like, I just walked through the door. What did you do all
Right. Right.
day? Like,
Right.
yeah, so yeah, but I want them to know that. I want them to see that you can do more and you can work and you can have more and you can work for somebody else and still build your own dreams and have your
Yeah.
own
You
desires.
can,
So
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we are definitely in that at the world of everyone starting something and running with you. It was so funny. So I'll tell a quick story. So Dante sent over I don't know if you were in the chat yet, but he sent over a YouTube video of this one YouTuber talking about another one who was quitting YouTube because he couldn't make a living
Yes,
off
I've
of.
seen that one. Yes, yes.
So this nurse decided to say, "Hey, I'm stopping YouTube because I can't make." He thought he could make a living off of 10,000 subscribers. Come on, y'all.
Yeah,
Like, think. Like,
right.
if you can't pay your bills with 10,000 subscribers, why the hell would you quit your job? You know, I'm just like the audacity of some of them. And but you also have some that are the same age who are growing and working and doing this on the side. Like, it's got to be sustainable before you can just, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I
So,
believe not everybody believes in God or
yeah,
whatever, but I think everybody on some level has a spirituality.
yeah,
So I think that when things are meant for you, they can't go somewhere else. They're
yeah,
yours. They're gonna come to you when it's right
yeah,
for you, not when you want it, not when you think it should be, not when you think you've worked hard enough. If it's
yeah,
going to be or it's meant for you,
yeah,
it's yours
yeah.
already. It's
And
just
it'll
not
keep
coming.
knocking. It'll
Yeah.
find its way
It's
through.
yeah, it's like it's waiting for you to grow into its
Yeah,
purpose. So
yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. We need to make that a quote. Seriously, seriously. Oh my gosh, like I could seriously talk to you all night, but I'm gonna wrap this up and we're gonna have to it's been a wonderful thing doing this show so far because I feel like there's just so much more for all the guests that I've had on so far to talk again and to revisit this. So I am now on this journey with you and you're on this journey with me. So,
yes,
you know, even 6 months down the road, we're gonna have so much more to talk about and see
absolutely.
what's changed. And I'm so excited for that. But let me end with this. How can people find you? Where can people contact you and get your beautiful products?
We are on Instagram, Pretty Little Things CT. We're on Facebook, Pretty Little Things LLC, and we have a website, pltllc.org.
Awesome. And that's Lil as in Lil, not little.
Lil, yes,
Lil.
Lil.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, and I did email you through the website. I don't know if you got that.
I haven't looked yet today, so.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to so as you guys know, Beyond Eons Productions and Pretty Little Things are now in collaboration. We're somewhat partners. And I went to the website to check out the new website and all the cool things on there. And I'm like, well, let me just um, see how the information, like if you have a question. So I filled out the
Okay.
information, my email address. So I wanted to see how it works. So
Yeah.
to help you out, I don't know if anyone's ever contacted you through that or
No,
not.
so I'm glad you
Oh,
did
perfect.
that. Yeah,
Okay, awesome, awesome. I wanted to see how it worked for you, and yeah, let's keep doing what we're doing. This is so cool.
absolutely.
All right, and then I will see you what next weekend?
Yes,
Yeah,
on the 25th.
yeah.
Yes.
So you guys, January 25th, Beyond Eons Productions is celebrating our 1 year anniversary. We're going to be at Escada Restaurant and Bar in
Yes,
Johnston.
I
Yes,
believe so. Yeah.
there. Yeah, that place. And Mr. Dante, I wore my sweatshirt. He's been getting on my ass about this because
Really?
I haven't been wearing my.
I didn't get one to wear.
Okay, so see, Dante, get her a sweatshirt, and Ori and I need our extra large and large and the blue one. So there. All right, love. Thank you so much for coming on. This is beautiful.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Jono, and have a wonderful night. And I will see you in a week and a half.
Yay.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me.
Good night.
Good
Yes, you're so
night.
welcome. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.